in South Carolina. Number 2, number 16, and we are underway here on Thursday Prime. Okot out to Tanaya Latson. Okot will take the deep jumper and hit. Look out when that's going down.
We started the game talking about Joyce Edwards, but Medina Okot will have the matchup with Reagan Beers on the inside, and she's got great size and soft touch.
Here is Beers. The number one thing we heard from Jenny Baranczyk was we need to get Reagan Beers the ball in the paint. And that time, Williams lays it in after Beers drew the D.
Really nice read from Sahara Williams. She has such great size on the offensive end. Defense didn't commit, she went all the way.
Latson flings it out. Here's Raven Johnson. Good hands, knocked away by Van. Into the backcourt it goes. Everybody after it. South Carolina able to maintain control. 8 to shoot. Johnson will line drive attempt. Out of bounds, and it's going to be Oklahoma basketball.
Going back to Sahara Williams, you do want to get Reagan Beers, right? But here on this ball screen action, look at Okot. She's backing up to try and protect that pocket pass, so Sahara Williams goes all the way to the rim and finishes with the left. It was a great read.
And a foul here on Tessa Johnson. Early personal on Johnson, who is having an outstanding junior season. Once again, shooting the 3 unbelievably well. 47% from 3. She's 44% in her career. Here's Verhulst, look out. Okot got to it, knocked it away. Here comes Edwards, so dangerous in transition. Johnson, need a hand on her. Can't hit that one. Chavez, the rebound, looked like she got poked. They're gonna say it's out of bounds off of Chavez as Edwards was able to hit ball. Let's see. D. Kantner, what do you think? Foul or correct non-call?
No, you have to come back with a foul on that. When somebody gets hit in the face, they take umbrage to that. You need to come back. Sometimes you don't see the poke, but you see the reaction. You need to call that a foul.
All right, thank you, D, our rules analyst, who has been just an incredible addition to our broadcast. Here's Johnson, got that one. She gets open looks. She's probably going to hit him down.
Yeah, and that's one thing that Oklahoma will kick themselves for. Tessa Johnson is such a great shooter.
And there you go. A look inside, and Beers taking advantage. Jenny Baranczyk telling us if we had 100 possessions in practice this week, 97 of them were likely about getting Beers the ball in the paint as Johnson hits the jumper. Tried to get it to Beers there, knocked out of bounds. Tessa Johnson, number 2 among active D1 players in three-point percentage. Only Allie Turner of Gonzaga better. Verhulst gets some space and drops it in. Some good rhythm offensively from both teams in the early going.
And if you're on the Oklahoma side, you're happy because the ball has touched the paint, but it's been in multiple different ways. Off the drive, that was off a pass, and off the feed to Beers.
Okot dumps it in. Edwards surrounded, flings it out. Johnson again. She is deadly from beyond the arc. And that was something that Jenny Baranczyk really focused on. She said, we as a team cannot give her open looks as Okot is called for the foul here trying to hang with Beers.
And really, while you talk about you don't want Tessa Johnson to be wide open, Joyce Edwards looked off the defender for a second. She almost looked like she was going to pass to Raven Johnson, and then she hits Tessa Johnson, so the defender couldn't recover in time.
Johnson off to a blistering start. 8 points already. Here's Williams, back to Chavez. Her 3 won't go, airmailed it. Verhulst in after it. 2 South Carolina players, and it last hits the Gamecocks will stay with Oklahoma.
One thing Oklahoma can look to do is get Aaliyah Chavez coming off of ball screens. Almost 70% of her field goal attempts come off the dribble. The ball screen defense for South Carolina is something Dawn Staley is looking to improve. So if you're Oklahoma, you want to test that.
Yeah, Dawn told us our connectivity, our communication, not quite there yet on it. As that's going to be a foul on Johnson. That will keep things here. So Tessa Johnson picks up her second. Too early on Johnson, who now is going to have to check out.
And this is something Oklahoma likes to do. Dee, did you like the call?
First call is the wrap. The first call was the wrap by Johnson. The second call, what you saw later, is the fend off. But the wrap was first. Good call.
Williams finds the cutter. Brooklyn Stewart lays it in. Beautiful look from Sahara Williams. Reagan Beers getting a breather. Brooklyn Stewart in the game for Oklahoma. Jenny Baranchuk telling us she'd love to see Beers and Stewart get some minutes together as well. As that three is short from Johnson, and Verhulst the rebound.
Yeah, and Beers and Stewart playing together would be a product of both of them staying out of foul trouble. A lot of times one comes in for the other because they're in foul trouble. If they can play together, Jenny Baranchuk would love to see that. Look at the spacing for Oklahoma. It's a great cut by Stewart, but it's the spacing that creates that opportunity. Oklahoma's done a nice job. They're connected on the offensive end. Their timing has been great on their cuts. Already seeing growth from this team early.
That's saved into the corner. Verhulst has it. Verhulst off one leg, can't drop it in, and the rebound secured for a moment by Tack, but Adele Tack had stepped out of bounds. It'll be Oklahoma basketball. Dawn Staley's team off to a 5-0 start in the SEC, 19-1 on the season. Look inside, Lofton can't pop it in. The offensive rebound and another chance here for Oklahoma. Keziah Lofton. And it's taken away by Agam Bakir that went behind the back, and Lofton took it right back. Here's Chavez, guarded tightly by Johnson. Chavez trying to make it happen. Couldn't lay it in. Rebound ends up, and Lofton can't finish. Beers comes away with it. Another chance for Oklahoma. Verhulst drops it home.
Effort on the offensive glass to keep the ball alive. Everyone for South Carolina out of position. Peyton Verhulst with a tough shot in the paint.
Tied at 10, almost midway through the first quarter. Johnson looking to drive it. Spinning, can't hit. Rebound lands in the lap of Kaya Smith. Smith has it taken away by Johnson. Raven Johnson all the way in with the lefty scoop.
Raven Johnson.
It's a nice job by Raven Johnson, turning the page off the missed jumper and attacking on defense.
Chavez a force there. And flagged down by Latson. Here's Tania Latson spinning into the paint, forced it up. Beers there to contest it and control it for Oklahoma. Here's Chavez. Behind the back pull from three is off. Jenny Baranchuk trying to walk that balance with Chavez, where taking threes in transition, but also not forcing things when Oklahoma does not have an advantage.
Yeah, exactly. If the team has an advantage, she wants Aaliyah Chavez to be aggressive, but not force it. I thought those two last shots from Chavez were forced.
Yes. Tack with Beers on her, knocked out of bounds. It's Oklahoma basketball. Timeout on the floor. Good action early in Norman. ESPN's exclusive presentation of college bat with 22-6 that season under Dawn Staley. Meanwhile, Oklahoma started 4 of 5 from the floor. They're 1 of 8 since. Here's Van flipping it out. Lob it in. Beers gets a paint touch and gets the whistle. And free throws here for Reagan Beers. Dawn Staley not going to be thrilled with that call, but good things happen for Oklahoma when they get Beers the ball.
And you can see exactly where Jenny Baranchuk wants her team to focus coming out of the timeout. Very intentional on getting the ball to Reagan Beers.
Miriam Dowda picks up the personal. Now let's take a look at tonight's Wooden Watch presented by Principal. That's pretty good, Dre. Yeah. 4 of these players in this game today.
Yeah, the talent level out on the floor. And Tania Latson is a player that, to me, is still finding her way with this South Carolina team, but she's gotten more and more comfortable after leading the nation in scoring last season, making the transition to South Carolina.
Hey, we also got to give a shout out to our two very good friends who are also very sick right now. Rebecca Lobo, Holly Rowe, getting slammed at home by the flu. We love you both. We can't wait till you feel better. But I know they're both watching.
Of course they're watching.
This is what they do.
And Rebecca's probably feeling more sick when Oklahoma doesn't get the ball to Reagan Beers on the inside. And they force shots. It's probably making her symptoms worse.
There's no doubt. Maybe any post who's watching. Here's McKeer. Flick it out, Dowda. Latson. Guarded by Williams nicely. Latson stripped by Williams. Here comes Sahara Williams up with it. Beers over to Lofton. Chavez on the bench at the moment. Beers gets a touch again and finishes. Jenny Baranczyk going nuts in the sideline, applauding the offensive set.
Yeah, she should be. She wants the high-low action. Brooklyn Stewart, what a great pass to Reagan Beers.
Dowda can't hit the three. Edwards not after it. Williams, big-time effort to be able to control for Oklahoma. Here is Van. Little pull-up jumper, rims off, rebound, knocked out of bounds. Last touch, South Carolina, going to be Oklahoma ball.
And I would be so interested in Dee's take on Reagan Beers, the physicality that she plays with. What is your take on that?
You're putting me on the spot right now, Drea. Actually, I love a big, strong, powerful post, and I hope our referees respect that. Refereeing advantage, disadvantage. Yep. Leave it at that.
There we go.
Straight on three is short. It's nice having Dee as this resource, isn't it, Dre? Like
yeah,
right here, whenever
absolutely.
we need a question answered.
And I think when I've talked to coaches about Reagan Beers, a lot of the coaches get frustrated at her high elbows. But I think there's a difference in having a high elbow and throwing a high elbow. Dee's nodding her head, so.
Yes. Does she gain an advantage by that high elbow? What does she do with it? I mean, having them high in and of itself is not a foul.
Because
does she put the opponent at a disadvantage illegally? Now we got a foul.
And then you see things go the complete opposite way, where your game Sunday against LSU, Dre, she gets called for two almost phantom offensive rebounding calls, and then she's on the bench. And Oklahoma, just a completely different team whether they're on the floor or not. Getting a little breather right now. But Chavez went out of the game, and then the guards did a much better job of getting the ball into Reagan Beers.
And give Jenny Baranczyk credit. A couple of forced shots from Aaliyah Chavez. Baranczyk wants her to play through some of those things, but also giving her time to take a seat and see what it should look like.
Verholz can't hit the jumper. Williams after it. Couldn't control it. Oklahoma does have 7 offensive rebounds already. McKeer gets fouled by Van. And McKeer will shoot 2. South Carolina has another huge game Sunday right here on ESPN and the ESPN app. They're going to host Michaela Blake's an undefeated number 5 Vanderbilt. Our coverage begins at 3 Eastern. That is an awesome game Sunday.
And how impressive has Vanderbilt's turnaround been through the career of Shea Ralph? I mean, just watching that program grow and develop. And Michaela Blake's, if you haven't watched her play, she's averaging 30 points per game in conference play this season.
A scintillating talent to watch. And that is going to be an awesome game. I mean, it really is amazing when you look up and down the SEC slate, and it's just, every night of SEC action, you have a matchup of that caliber.
And this game is good for South Carolina in preparation for Michaela Blake's. That shoot-around today, Dawn Staley said, you cannot relax. Talking about guarding Aaliyah Chavez because she's a high-volume shooter, so is Michaela Blake's.
Stewart throws that one away. 4th Oklahoma turnover. Edwards dishes out to Johnson. 1:20 to go in this first quarter. South Carolina, 1-point lead. McKeer, the crossover, bounces aside. Edwards unable to finish but got fouled. And Joyce Edwards is going to shoot 2.
Incredible awareness from Agat McKeer because she comes off the ball screen, they switch, she uses the ball screen again so that they switch back. They being Oklahoma, that's how they got the mismatch. It was Chavez on Joyce Edwards. But if Agat McKeer comes out and shoots the ball off that initial ball screen, you can't hit that mismatch. She reuses it, gets the mismatch, and hits Joyce Edwards.
It was interesting talking with Dawn today about Agat McKeer, and she was talking about the way she's coming along, and she said, she takes us to a different level defensively and offensively if she's at her best. So what we're working with her right now, and she said it's not exclusive to her, this is a freshman thing, is just how do you stay on all the time?
And it's difficult when sometimes you're coming off the bench. She's been inserted into the starting lineup a couple of times. Agat told us today at shoot-around she spends a lot of time talking to Tessa Johnson.
Yeah.
Who's Tessa Johnson? High minutes some games, low minutes other games. As a freshman when Tessa Johnson played. And Agat McKeer, you had the game, Ryan, against Texas. I thought she had phenomenal energy on the ball defense against Madison Booker. She's got great length, great athleticism. When I talked to her, she said she has a really good feel for the game. It's harder at this level for that feel to come into play, but she trusts her feel.
Little blood on the knee there of Williams. That was the delay. Here's Van. Beers back in after the breather. Maddie McDaniel gets called for the foul. Both teams in the bonus. So free throws here for Reagan Beers. Or are they going to give Van the free throws? Oh, yeah, I guess it's going to be Van who's shooting. There's still some conversation, but I thought it was Beers. Yeah, guys, you should have just asked me. I knew it was Beers from the start. Right? D, this is why I'm supposed to be an official.
I'm telling you, you are the official wannabe. I'm telling you. But you were right. I was holding my breath here, hoping they'd recognize that it was Beers shooting.
Yeah, so it was Beers on the handoff. McDaniel running into Beers. That's where the foul was.
D, with all due respect, I'm just going to tell you, no one wants to be an official.
Oh, it is a fabulous job. I know everyone focuses on negativity. I love that gig for 41 years.
I have so much respect for them.
Even though you talked to me about the call I missed in what year?
Yeah, it was a bad call.
Yeah, okay.
Players don't forget. Edwards on the little hook, drops it in. Nice move from Joyce Edwards. Here's Van, about a 13-second difference game in shot clock. Chavez fakes the three, gonna drive it, gets into the paint, banks it in, and the foul. Chavez comes back in with her first bucket of the night.
This is what it should look like for Aaliyah Chavez. Long closeout. The patience on the inside, takes the contact, still finishes at the rim, but there was so much patience on that offensive possession. Instead of forcing the shot, she had an opening to drive, and she took it.
Much more poised possession. Completes the three-point play. McKeer picks up her first. Shot clock is turned off. Here's Raven Johnson. Guarded tightly by Van. 6 to shoot. Johnson banks it in on the run. Beers gets it in. Van gets it off. That'll do it for the first South Carolina. It's been incredible. Now you're also going to be at men's game day tomorrow or Saturday in Lubbock.
I can't Texas. I just can't get enough of Texas.
You know what? There's no state income tax. It's not a bad place to do games.
I might scout some homes.
Beers lays it in. Latson gets denied by Verls, out of bounds, and they're going to say it last touch Latson.
Reagan Beers, deep seal, easy turn and finish. I mean, that's it. When she does her work early, the opportunities are so effortless when her teammates put the ball right where it needs to be.
And Oklahoma 7 for 13 in the paint, 1 for 8 outside of it. Okad going straight into Chavez, who takes the charge, and that's going the other way. And that's the second on Medina Okad.
Medina Okad, 6'7", leading the break, but unable to be a playmaker out of the opportunity. That's the next step. Leading the break is great, especially at her size with what she's able to do, but the ability to make decisions on the move, that's difficult.
See, Maddie McDaniel, who provided some good defensive pressure in that first quarter, back into the game. You also see Isla McDowell getting minutes, the AAU teammate of Aaliyah Chavez. And that one is going to go the other way as Beers gets called for the offensive foul. That'll be the first personal.
You see Reagan Beers grab Adele Tack's arm. D, yes?
Yep, that's what you got called for, clamping the arm of her opponent, getting an advantage.
And that's actually number 2 on Beers. So 2 on Reagan Beers, who now goes to the bench, and we'll see how Oklahoma handles it. Drea, your game Sunday, they fell apart against LSU with Beers on the bench.
So many good things happen when you can go to Reagan Beers on the inside, but also play through Reagan Beers. Having her presence inside opens up opportunities on the perimeter, and you're right, her getting in foul trouble changed the game against LSU.
Here's Latson to the corner. McDaniel a three, won't go. Rebound on the weak side, controlled by Edwards, putting it back and in. Joyce Edwards with the finish. Down the floor, Brooklyn Stewart in Oklahoma able to beat South Carolina. Oklahoma plays at an incredible pace. They average more field goal attempts than anybody in the nation. So if you're not back, they'll take advantage. Edwards can't hit the jumper. Here comes Oklahoma, Verhulst pushing. Van with a seam gets denied by Edwards, and it will stay here with Oklahoma.
I mean, this is after a made shot, Ryan. They get the ball up the floor so quickly. Zia Van running wide, Stewart sprinting, rim to rim. Excellent transition offense for Oklahoma.
Alicia Tornabese in the game. The 18-year-old who's Verhulst hits the jumper. Tornabese joining South Carolina for the first time in that game against Texas that we had last week. That three from Latson won't go. Tornabese got a hand on it, couldn't control. The 6'7" freshman from France. Verhulst, line drive off. Van, no. And knocked out of bounds by Oklahoma. Now, Alicia Tornabese, she can do this, Drea.
I am so excited about Alicia Tornabese to be here in the SEC. Her size and the ability to dunk in a game off of one leg, slam. But to me, Ryan, when you watch her play, that is exciting. And I can't wait to see it. I know we're going to see it in her career, but she has so many elements to her game that make her talented. Soft touch. She facilitates the ball. She's a good passer. She can knock down jump shots, put the ball on the floor. I mean, just a complete game with so much room to grow. She'll put on more strength. She'll add more power. Very excited for her in her career.
Mom has well played in the WNBA and is going to be inducted to the Women's Basketball Hall of Fame in 2026. And Tornabese wasn't going to join until next year. Went for a visit and Gusto said, hey, we could use you. Alicia wasn't really playing on her pro team, so she said, all right, I'll get here mid-year, let's go. As Johnson buries the jumper. Here's Chavez trying to beat Johnson. Nice kick out, Van connects.
I feel like we're seeing growth of Aaliyah Chavez in real time, right? The attack baseline and then their driving baseline, not forcing the layup, which she got earlier, but instead kicking out to her teammate to knock down for three.
McDowell can't hit. Chavez will let it tilt out of bounds. And that after Jenny Bronchek took her out for a brief moment, she's responded coming back into the game.
And there you see the one-hand pass right on target to Zia Van. This is what Jenny Bronchek talks about when she says their offensive system should create shots. You shouldn't have to force it. It shouldn't be that difficult. When you play with great spacing, the shot should come.
And one thing Jenny also told us was Aaliyah Chavez wants to learn. Said she's a salt-of-the-earth kid who wants to get better and does see the game. As that foul's called on Verhulst, and Oklahoma turns it over. I thought it was interesting the way Jenny differentiated to being able to see the game and even articulate it versus command it as a freshman point guard. She said Aaliyah Chavez still getting comfortable with things that she can really see, but putting her teammates in the right place and communicating it to them as a freshman.
And even watching Aaliyah Chavez in shoot-around, I felt like she was watching and learning. She doesn't quite know what to say exactly. So instead of saying the wrong thing, she doesn't say anything, where I think she can grow. As we talk about very talented freshmen.
Yeah. Tornabese at 6'7", a center, hitting that three. Where you think she can grow.
But where Chavez can grow is just say the encouraging thing. Pour into your teammates in terms of giving them life and giving them confidence with whatever they have going on. In offensive drills, in shooting drills. Just using your voice and getting used to using it, even if you're not giving direction, that's the next step Chavez can take.
Tornabese whistled for the personal. Good action in this first half. South Carolina a 1-point lead. First foul on Tornabese. Here is Peyton Verhulst. The crossover, the body in, couldn't quite finish it. Tornabese the rebound, looking to push right away. Tessa Johnson finally back in, and once again, ringing in a three. She had 8 early points, then picked up a second foul, had been on the bench for a while, and picks up right where she left off. Largest lead of the game, it's 4. That's how tightly this first half has been played. And that is going to be yet another offensive foul called on Verhulst. And that will be her 3rd personal. D, what do you think about this call?
I really believe that's a tough call.
I don't think she's doing anything, is she?
She just, I mean, we are looking for dribble handoff, illegal screens, but she just passes the ball out, doesn't move at all. She's been there the whole time. I don't see an illegal screen on that play.
All right, thank you, D. And that's a tough one for Oklahoma. Verhulst is a steady senior in that backcourt. Now, that's actually the 2nd on Verhulst rather than the 3rd, but still is going to check out as Tornabese lays it in. Chavez can't hit that one. Johnson hugs the rebound. South Carolina, 6-point edge, their largest of the game. McKeer lays it in with the left hand. And now Jenny Baranczyk needs a timeout, and she is going to voice her displeasure. All right, thank you very much. Ladies, looking forward to that as Williams barges in and finishes. See how Oklahoma navigates this period with Beers and Verhulst both on the bench with 2 fouls. That bucket ended a 10-0 run.
With Beers on the bench, more driving opportunities can happen for Oklahoma. That was a nice attack by Williams.
McKeer to the corner. Johnson back out. McKeer dumps it in. Edwards turning and a travel.
I want to go back before the timeout was called. This is why the timeout was called. Look at the right of your screen. Aaliyah Chavez is going to take this 3. It looks open, but there's 26 seconds left on the shot clock. And South Carolina takes it all the way back down to the other end. It's a shot, but it's like a turnover.
Meanwhile, Van makes a 3 to cut it to 3. Here's Johnson. McKeer gets fouled by Chavez. And McKeer is going to shoot 2. First foul on Aaliyah Chavez. This was the Van 3 a moment ago.
Zai Van coming down, quick pull. And there's such a balance for Jenny Baranczyk. What is a good 3? What is a bad 3? Trying to figure out the flow of her offense and help these young guards. It's a nice make from Zai Van.
Right, because they take by far and away the most transition 3s in the country, part of the green light design of Jenny Baranczyk's offense. But that doesn't mean all of them are good transition 3s. To your point. Van 2 for 3 from 3. The rest of Oklahoma 0 for 4. Good response here from Oklahoma after the 10-0 run. Chavez leaning, couldn't bank it in. Raven Johnson, what a down court feed. McKeer couldn't finish it. Able to keep it in though. Johnson, not that time. Tessa Johnson finally misses one. The lead for Van, her 3 won't go, and Johnson flags it down. Good pace in this first half, huh?
Extremely fast pace.
Here's Edwards, pushes it up short, Tornabese. Wow, that is some heightened skill that you just can't teach. Alicia Tornabese with 7 points, and a whistle here.
Going back to that Tornabese rebound, the effort on the glass, something you can always count on with South Carolina, and Brooklyn Stewart caught watching, not pushing back, not blocking out. So that is not an over-the-back call. And how about the touch for Alicia Tornabese?
Yeah. I mean, she looks like she could be a real X factor for Dawn Staley.
Such a tough matchup. Length, the mobility, the touch. I mean, on both ends of the floor. And a high basketball IQ as well.
Tessa Johnson checks out. And now Maddie McDaniel, South Carolina, trying to figure out who they are keeping on the floor. McKeer will now saunter to the scorer's table, and McDaniel will come in. Oklahoma with the inbound. Van a 3 is good. Her third 3 of the half.
Zia Van shooting 36% from 3. A ton of confidence from just the sophomore.
Here's Latson, pull-up jumper, won't go. McDaniel the rebound. Back out Latson, into Edwards, has the mismatch on Chavez, and that is going to be an offensive foul. Second charge, Chavez has drawn. That's the first personal on Edwards.
First personal, team number 4. Got number 44 and for the Gamecocks.
So Chavez has given up the body. You'd have been a play on there?
I think I would have let that one play on.
D, play on or 50-50?
Are you talking to me, Ryan?
Lofton can't lay it in. Edwards comes up with it. Oh, Johnson the pirouette around the attempted steal and lays it in. Raven Johnson with a quick take. And then Johnson knocks it away. Here's Edwards. Can't lay it in. Sahara Williams comes away with it. Oklahoma on the break. Williams connects on the pull-up. A breakneck pace, and Dawn Staley wants a timeout. Well, South Carolina, 2-point lead on Oklahoma. Dawn Staley voicing her frustration with Melissa Barlow. She has not been alone in doing so tonight. I think both head coaches have had reasonable objections at different moments of this first half. Here's Latson, giving it up. Edwards, cross court. McKeer can't hit. Edwards the offensive rebound and gets fouled by Sahara Williams. That will be number 1 on Williams, and free throws here for Edwards, who's been a factor on the offensive glass.
Such a nice job by Joyce Edwards, because felt like there was contact on that transition layup, body-to-body contact. Nothing was called. What does she do? Comes back out, works, makes a good read at first, and then gets the offensive rebound and now shooting free throws.
Hey, women's basketball takes over the SEC network every Sunday, starting at noon Eastern. Number 11 Kentucky hosts Georgia. The number 16 Oklahoma takes on Auburn, and 4th-ranked Texas is in Fayetteville, squaring off against Arkansas at 4 Eastern. All games also available on the ESPN app. Not a good pass there, and Brooklyn Stewart telling Chavez, calm down, calm down.
And you have to give this Oklahoma team so much credit with what they've been able to do in this first half with Peyton Verhulst and Reagan Beers, 2 of the most experienced players on the roster, on the bench in foul trouble.
Great point. Stewart can't hit that one. Williams had it taken away by Raven Johnson. Johnson averaging a career high, nearly 10 points per game as a senior. So many winning plays. Latson yet to score in this half. Last year led the nation, and now she will twist her way to the line to finally get on the board.
And as I say that, also, Ryan, South Carolina, without Okot and Tessa Johnson, 2 huge players, 2 starters for South Carolina. So many different players on both teams getting opportunities in this first half.
We were talking with Dawn Staley about Latson before the game, and Tania Latson, her usage rate is down from 38% to 23%. She's had fewer than 10 field goal attempts in 4 straight games, something she did 4 times total in 93 games at Florida State. But Dawn Staley gives her a lot of credit, all the different ways she's impacting winning, even not fully healthy yet with her full explosiveness after her lower leg injury. And she said, but she's figuring out how to still play through that, which is what you need to do if you're going to be a pro. And she said, look, I've told her, you can have the keys. You want to go run a play, get a shot for yourself, go for it. But you're going to have to go vocalize that and make it happen. But she's really pleased with the way Latson has adjusted to a lower volume. Tornabees can't hit that one.
And I talked to Tania Latson early in the season, and she said she came to South Carolina to learn how to play with other people, how to be a better defender. And Tania Latson told me, I'd rather learn that now than as a rookie at the next level.
About a 5-second difference game in shot clock. Chavez, 7 to shoot. Chavez hounded by Latson, 4 to shoot. Chavez has to hoist, travels, and Chavez was trying to run a clock. He probably needed to get off the ball at some point prior. But Oklahoma gonna survive this extended stretch with Beers and Verhulst both on the bench.
It is the #1 thing to pay attention to in the second half, foul trouble. Starters on both sides.
Latson, 1 second left, will let it fly, can't hit, and they call a foul on Smith on the attempt from Latson, shooting that three. And Jenny Baranchek
is a foul on 4. That play is under review.
Is apoplectic about the call. Let's take a look. D, I'm sorry how much we've had to use you tonight on this.
It is a correct call. She took her landing space.
All right, there you go.
And they're looking to just see if that landing space is taken right there, comes under her. Yeah, she's
like that's not a kick
that
out
is not an unusual kick out. That's part of it. She's coming down. She comes under her space. I think you have to call that a foul.
All right.
After review, the illegal contact happened with 0.4 seconds on the game clock. We will reset to that, and 0-0 for South Carolina will attempt 3 free throws.
You know, that's also, it's a mistake from Kaya Smith in that moment. The sophomore trying to get a contest rate, but wow, you feel a whole lot different if you're Oklahoma going into the locker room down 4 compared to what could end up being 7.
And it's so tough. You know, Kaya Smith, you talk about her being a sophomore. She averaged 3 minutes a game last season. So still getting a lot of experience. I mean, while you do appreciate the effort, you have to let the shooter land on the ground. And give Tania Latson credit. Waited on the screen, dribbles right into that shot and puts it up. It's great late clock, late quarter execution.
Had missed 2 free throws last trip down. And Latson hits all 3. That'll swing it to a 7-point lead, and that'll do it for the first half. An exciting first half, tightly played. Time to send things
to play through Reagan Beers, especially to start the half.
Here we go. Start of the third quarter. And he will stand until Oklahoma gets its first bucket. I'd say all, but it's not all. It's a lot. But there's some who decide to just sit. Here's Okot, spinning into the lane, surrounded, lost it, knocked out of bounds. It's Oklahoma basketball.
One thing that Oklahoma will do defensively is it looks like a zone defense, but they're matched up around Reagan Beers. They did that last possession. We'll see if they continue.
Getting Beers a touch. That's why Beers lays it in. The fans will sit. Our statistician Stevie LeBeau is delighted because he can see again. And play resumes. 10 points for Reagan Beers, 4 of 4 from the floor. Chavez off the deflection, trying to win the foot race. Chavez spins it in, plus the foul.
This is what Oklahoma likes to do. Gives Sahara Williams credit on the contest of Tania Latson. And then Aaliyah Chavez is out and running with the ridiculous finish underneath the rim for the and-one.
Chavez completes the three-point play. Good start to the second half for Oklahoma. 5 straight points. It's a 2-point South Carolina lead. Oklahoma's largest lead of the first half was 2. South Carolina's 8. 3 ties, 6 lead changes. Good job by Williams to deny Latson. Johnson, no. Ball hits the floor. Johnson picks it up, can't put it in. Beers will flag down the rebound. Here comes Chavez with space, will take, and hit. They're going to take a look at whether or not it's a 2 or a 3, but for now, it's a 3, and Oklahoma's back in front. Chavez first of the night. She's had at least 1 3 in every game this season. Johnson looking to respond, cannot, missed it right. Williams gets it ahead and throws it behind Van, just a little too eager. an 8-0 Oklahoma run.
Going back to that Aaliyah Chavez 3, Oklahoma had momentum. They got a couple of good looks. You just got a layup and an and one. That's the feel for the game that I think Jenny Baranczyk is okay with.
That kind of transition 3. Here's Tessa, working behind Okot. Johnson, nice bounce. Okot banks it in with 3 defenders on her. Okot has been great for South Carolina as Verhulst can't finish. Johnson the rebound. The transfer has been a major factor on the interior this season for the Gamecocks. Edwards bounces. Okot lays it in.
Good patience by Okot, letting Chavez fly by, but Oklahoma is so
Wow! How about Chavez to Williams and the spin? You said it, Dre, off made buckets at times.
You cannot celebrate or even think about a made shot against Oklahoma because they get it up the floor so fast.
Okot can't hit. Long rebound will tilt out of bounds. Dawn Staley slaps it back to the play.
I mean, this is off of a made basket. And you see Sahara Williams pointing. She was pointing for the pass, the spin to catch it, and then finish with Okot right behind her.
That is a beautiful replay, first of all.
Yes.
Just a gorgeous back shoulder fade there in the end zone with Williams spinning into the layup. 1 point South Carolina lead. Here's Beers. Tornaby's into the game for South Carolina. Beers, I think Tornaby's got a piece of it. Raven Johnson rushing ahead. The pull-up doesn't get the roll. Tornaby's the putback. Rims off. Beers gets the rebound into the arms of Van. Van dashing and hitting. .11 points for Zaya Van.
She's made great decisions offensively.
Here's Tessa, the left-handed shovel. Doesn't bank in, but draws the foul. Tessa Johnson will shoot 2.
You see Zaya Van coming down in transition, getting to the middle of the floor. So many good things happen when you get to the middle of the floor. Stops on a dime. And as I'm watching Oklahoma and the way they get the ball out so fast, it's not a player comp. I'm not comparing Zaya Van to
is this what that smile was on your face a moment ago?
Yes,
Okay.
I was smiling as Tessa Johnson makes the free throw. I was smiling because it reminds me a little bit of Kelsey Mitchell and the Fever and how quickly they can get the ball in her hands, even off of a made shot, and she can come down in transition. I'm not comparing the 2 players, but the pace that they play with.
Yeah, there's a feel where even when it goes through the net, boom, they're off.
Fast.
Yeah.
It's so fast.
Brooklyn Stewart picks up her 3rd foul. In a little more than 6 minutes. That pass a little too tall from Beers to Verhulst. And the 12th turnover for Oklahoma. Turnovers were maybe a fatal flaw with their team last season. They've trimmed them significantly so far this season. Latson bodies in, gets the whistle on Beers, and that is going to be number 3 on Reagan Beers. We'll see how Jenny Baranczyk wants to play it. It's like Sahara Williams will come into the game to get Beers. So Oklahoma's going to go a little smaller right now with Stewart and Beers both out of the game. They survived it in that first half with Beers playing only 9 minutes because of foul trouble.
They did a nice job. Good spacing on the offensive end, but boxing out on the defensive end becomes critical, especially when Beers goes to the bench.
Latson hits the second. Here's Lofton. Keziah Lofton. Hey, happy birthday to Keziah. It's not like a birthday week, it's the day. Today is the day, yeah.
Turning 19 today.
Yeah. Williams spins and gets the roll. Sahara Williams having a really impactful night. Tornaby's. How about that stroke?
From the trail spot. I mean, post players are so used to sprinting in the lane, it's hard to get out and defend. That is a tough play to guard.
Verhulst, little crossover, step back 3 is good. Smooth move from Peyton Verhulst. Pretty fun second half we have developing here, huh?
I mean, what a shot. Turnaby's on an island with Verhulst getting right into her three.
Back and forth they go. Latson can't bank it in. Tornaby's knocks it out. They'll say it last hit. Oklahoma says it all. Where is the foul there? I mean, my goodness. D, I want to validate it with the expert. Am I wrong for thinking that's a wildly unnecessary call?
I think it's unnecessary also.
Yeah.
The defender stays hidden behind the roller of Edwards. Well, Edwards is rolling, but the defender's not trying to get through. She's not impeding her. I would have let that play on, please.
Thank you, D. What a delight to have D with us. Williams got it off. Couldn't hit. D, who spent 36 years as an official in the women's game, 5 in the NBA, 26 Final Fours.
And I have all the crow's feet to show it. I don't need that right there.
Hi, D.
Yeah, really. What crow's feet?
What crow's feet? That's
I
right.
started when I was 5. I was a child protege. But yes, a whole lot of officiating, and I loved it.
And now
Thanks,
we love accessing your expertise. And that's going to go the other way as Tornaby's gets called for the offensive foul. And Dawn Staley is, I think, trying to come to grips with what has been a slew of frustrating calls. The push on Tornaby's is going to be why they called that one. It's number 2 on Alicia. Verhulst looking to save it. Behind the back. Oh, my! What a highlight! The layup from Lofton. The birthday present from Verhulst.
What a heads-up play. Peyton Verhulst behind the back to the cutting Keziah Lofton. She leads Lofton with the ball for the layup. That is ridiculous.
That's an incredible play by Verhulst, who just picked up her 3rd, so she's going to check out now. Oklahoma's been able to navigate with Verhulst and Pierce on the bench. Johnson. Raven Johnson through the lane, banks it in. Tough bucket from Raven Johnson. Here's Chavez, swiftly up the floor. Williams will take, can't hit. Johnson secures it for South Carolina. McKeer, does she get the roll? No, rebound, squirts out to Williams. Chavez, looking to attack, floats out a wild pass, and it's going to be out of bounds off of South Carolina. Will stay with Oklahoma.
On that baseline drive from Chavez, a couple of things have to happen. The drift pass, so someone can cut to the corner where she can see them, or the kickback action. Someone follow behind Chavez. She had no options on that drive baseline.
I think Dawn Staley's going to appeal that out-of-bounds call. And you know what? On the first look, I think she was right to do so. Seemed like it had hit Oklahoma. And so Dawn is going to appeal. Remember, coaches can appeal an unlimited amount of times. They're just bartering with a timeout, or they can do it without a timeout but then risk a technical. Let's see. Oh, maybe not. I think that's Joyce Edwards.
The ruling on the floor is out of bounds for Oklahoma. South
throws. Here is Williams lobbing it in. Beers back into the game and finishing.
And that's the matchup to watch. I mean, Reagan Beers, a nice job working Medina Okot up the lane so that high-low opportunity is there.
Well, she's so strong and able to get her positioning. McDowell buries the 3. That's a big 3 from Isla McDowell, the freshman. Chavez gets denied. Okot there.
Reagan Beers in the game. See, middle of the lane, just holds her position. So Medina Okot is so high. That's an easy throw over the top. And Isla McDowell, we've talked about freshmen with high ceilings. Her size at the guard position, she has so much potential.
Nice play by Tessa Johnson to knock it away. Tied at 57. Here on Thursday prime time. Johnson. Net by Williams, who just snared it. Chavez, catch, fire, no.
Sahara Williams has made some great defensive plays.
Tessa Johnson squirms in, couldn't finish the lay. Chavez, great look. Williams, the finish. There's that pace again from Oklahoma.
And that's what they do. And I talked about Sahara Williams. She had a defensive play and then transition. Chavez doesn't hit that shot. It was a great pass. And then Williams running the floor to receive the ball from Chavez. Those two have a good connection. Chavez said Sahara Williams is like her big sister on this team.
6 assists now for Chavez, who really has bounced back nicely after being taken out in that first quarter following a couple of poor decisions. Here's Chavez. Flings it back. Van a three, short. Rebound, Beers. The putback is good. Oklahoma's lead is 4. Only 2 times in program history has Oklahoma beaten the top 2 team. Trying to do that tonight on their home floor in Norman. McDowell bounces in. McKeer, no, follows it up. Yes. Van racing down the floor, gets denied, will stay here.
Nice effort by McKeer on her miss. Following up, Reagan Beers is occupied, trying to keep Medina caught off the offensive glass. So McKeer gets her offensive rebound and puts it back in. How about Oklahoma? Their pace.
Yeah.
I mean, it is
really felt it in this third quarter.
And it's hard to simulate when you're, when you're going, up against your practice guys. They're so consistent with how fast they get the ball up the floor.
Here is Van, 7-second difference game and shot clock. Van, big screen from Beers. 5 to shoot. Verhulst will take. Back iron and off. Rebound. Tornaby is able to control it. Johnson flings it down the floor out of bounds with 3.4 remaining. Oklahoma still with enough time to try and make something happen. Chavez will come back in for the final offensive possession. Chavez with 9 points and 6 assists. Verhulst gets it into Chavez. Chavez with space, her three, no. Great look, great play. That'll do it for the third. Oklahoma by 2, headed to the fourth against number 2 South Carolina.
And Oklahoma's gotten it done in 3 key areas. 12 more points in the paint, 13 more fast break points, and 5 more offensive rebounds than South Carolina to this point.
Tornaby's just yanked Beers. That is going to be her 3rd foul.
Oklahoma, they love setting back screens to get Beers towards the basket, get defenders on the move.
Here's Verhulst bouncing into Beers, and that's going to be another foul on Tornaby's. Now that will be her 4th for the 18-year-old French center. Played her first game just last week. And Tornaby's will check out. Adele Tack in for South Carolina. Here's Beers, deep position, and the finish. Boy, Beers does such a great job getting deep.
And moves her feet, was moving her feet that entire possession to work for position.
Out of bounds to Oklahoma after the miss from Johnson.
And if you're Oklahoma, you continue to go inside. Look at Reagan Beers, both hands up, feet moving. Tack is backing up as well along with Beers. I mean, that's what it looks like. That's what it should look like.
Oh, nice play. Good screen from Beers. And Verhulst lays it in. This is the largest lead of the night for Oklahoma. 65-59. Edwards slips in for 2.
Joyce Edwards is a player has been quiet so far this game. She's had moments, but she's the type of player that can take over.
Williams tried to force that one in, and she put Beers in a bad spot. Now Beers is going to pick up her fourth, trying to control that possession. So number 4 on Reagan Beers.
So pay attention here to Reagan Beers. Verhulst just slips to the basket. Tessa Johnson. I mean, Tania Latson is too far out. There's no one in Hope's side. I mean, that is a tough play. If that's done right, Tania Latson can take the cutter and Tessa Johnson can get out to the wing, but there was no communication.
Now we'll see how Oklahoma does with Beers on the bench. They were able to survive it in the second and the third. Just starting to build momentum now. She goes to the bench with 4 fouls. Tack, turns, and finishes easily over Brooklyn Stewart.
Really nice touch from Adele Tack on that turn and finish, and a quick decision.
Stewart can hit the 3. Williams able to wrestle the board. Tried to flip it in. It's a hot potato. Chavez, what a dish! And Stewart lays it in. Aaliyah Chavez has had some gorgeous passes in this game. Her 7th assist of the night. Johnson gets fouled by Stewart, and now that is going to be number 4 on Stewart.
Going back to this pass from Aaliyah Chavez, just a quick read of the defense. Stewart was active on the glass, so she's in position right at the rim. And you're right, Aaliyah Chavez, I mean, continuing to grow through mistakes, through decision-making, continuing to grow as far as being connected to her teammates as well and reading the defense. She talked to me before the game and said everything is so much faster.
Yeah.
And that's an adjustment for her.
Raven Johnson saying, come on, trying to get her team to move here. As Edwards hauls it in. Tessa Johnson, the leading scorer for South Carolina with 13, firing away. Doesn't hit that one. Williams trying to flag it down. Tack came up with it. Now Edwards, the Euro, can't finish. And that is going to be an over the back.
South Carolina foul for 15 and attack. First personal, team foul 2.
Here's Chavez, hounded by Raven Johnson. Sahara Williams muscles, throws it away. Latson comes up with it. Latson, what a move. Tania Latson gets denied by Chavez.
Aaliyah Chavez with the play on it. Looked like a pass, yep. And that's tough. Raven Johnson running so close with the play. Aaliyah Chavez could play right in between the two and make a play on the ball.
67-63, Oklahoma leads South Carolina, 7:19 to go in the 4th. Again, trouble on the inbound. Burles knocks it away. We saw that against Texas last week too, just trouble getting the ball in bounds for South Carolina.
And South Carolina, it looks like they're talking to each other about what the play is, but that's the second time they didn't run anything on the baseline out of bounds.
Johnson off to Edwards. Latson a 3. No. Tack the old board. Can't put it back in. Down court. Lofton trying to get after it. Raven Johnson last touched it. Oklahoma basketball. Hey, South Carolina has another huge game Sunday right here on ESPN and the ESPN app. The host, Michaela Blakes, and undefeated number 5, Vanderbilt. Our coverage begins at 3 Eastern. That is going to be an amazing game. How about UConn and Vandy, the only 2 undefeateds left. UConn 19-0 for a 13th time. Vanderbilt 19-0 for the first time in program history. Shea Ralph, the former player of Gino Auriemma, bringing it all full circle there.
Yeah, it's so special, those two programs. Yeah, full circle is the way to put it. How about Galvin, the freshman point guard for Vanderbilt? She's changed that program.
Verhulst, off one leg, loves that shot, that's why. Gets the roll. Verhulst up to 13. Johnson. Tessa from the free throw line got hit. Tessa Johnson, who started hot, has been cold of late, gonna get a chance to heat back up now at the line.
Peyton Verhulst, she's so crafty with the ball in her hands, and you're right, she loved that 1-foot fade. Her eyes find the rim, and just playing with a ton of confidence. Oklahoma as a whole tonight, start to finish, even with Beers on the bench, and she's coming back in. But to me, they're learning the lessons that they needed to learn based on their 3 losses. I mean, they're starting to put the pieces together from those experiences.
What do you think about putting Beers back in now with 6:37 still to play and 4 fouls?
Yeah, that I don't understand.
You go a little bit longer trying to
You go a little
navigate.
bit longer in Oklahoma, they're in such a flow.
Yeah.
It seemed like they're in such a flow, and you know, Brooklyn Stewart picked up her 4th foul, so you only have really 2 options on the inside, and I understand that, but to me, you want to preserve Beers.
Beers finds Verhulst, got fouled by Latson. Her second free throws here for Peyton Verhulst.
The issue with South Carolina defensively, Ryan, they're not dictating. I mean, they're reacting to Oklahoma, and a lot of times they're reacting late to Oklahoma. Instead of dictating what Oklahoma is doing offensively, Oklahoma, they're the ones that are operating, and they're connected, and their timing is where it's supposed to be. That's because the defense is supposed to disrupt the timing.
Latson, who picked up her second foul, is 0 for 7 from the floor in this game. South Carolina as a team shooting just 39%. Showed you the graphic earlier. They're shooting 51.5% on the season. Best ever under Dawn Staley.
Going back to Latson, a lot of her shots have been difficult. I mean, we haven't seen her get an easy, clean look.
Edwards push shot won't go. Beers the rebound. Off to Van. Van finds Verhulst inside. Stewart deep position, couldn't finish it. Van amongst the trees. Tried to grab it, could not. Here comes South Carolina. Edwards pedaling across. Out to McKeer. Edwards. Little hook, rims off. Beers has to be careful. Tack couldn't finish it. And Tack gonna get another chance here. Latson. Latson dives in. 0 for 8 now. That one won't go. Knocked out of bounds by McKeer. And Oklahoma, with Beers trying to be so careful, able to survive. A lot of good looks for South Carolina.
And for Latson, instead of leaning into Reagan Beers to try and get the foul, because Reagan Beers was backing up, just shoot the floater, up and in. It was right there. It's almost like you start to overthink trying to draw a foul on somebody. Latson was just open.
Get the bucket, not the body. South Carolina's missed 10 straight shots, and 5 or 6 of them came on that possession. Here's Beers. Lofton. Williams into Beers. Beers draws 2. Van in the corner. No. Verhulst on the weak side. Another chance for Oklahoma. They will reset.
18 offensive rebounds for Oklahoma.
Van dumps it in. Beers trying to grab it, could not. Edwards, the nice poke away. And Tack did a nice job holding her ground. Tessa Johnson, they need it. Don't have it. Johnson, who started blisteringly hot from the field, was 4 for her first 5, is now 4 for 11. Chavez has gotten an extended rest for Oklahoma. Beers battling. And looks like Van is down on the baseline. We will step aside. Zaya Van goes down.
She has done her work, and her teammates have found her.
A plus 16 in the paint, a plus 13 rebounding margin. And this is not the norm for South Carolina. You see the way they have outscored their opponents in the paint this season by 27 points per game. Johnson like a blur, big bucket off the miss for South Carolina.
South Carolina showing some pace, and I was interested if Coach Staley was going to go with Okat as Chavez takes the shot. Okat limited minutes in this game because of foul trouble in the first half, but not because of foul trouble in the second.
Tornabees has been on the bench now for a while with 4 fouls after she was a good answer for South Carolina. On the interior, Okat can't finish. Williams trying to come away with it and does. Bouncing off of players. And now Jenny Baranczyk says slow it down.
Well, she should. Oklahoma's executed offensively with their spacing, with their cutting.
Shot clock down to 8. Chavez into Verhulst. 4 to shoot. Verhulst gonna have to put it up. Can't get the roll. Okot the rebound. 3:05 to go in the fourth. Oklahoma 73-67 lead on number 2 South Carolina. Raven Johnson with a clutch bucket. We saw a lot of those down the stretch from Raven against Texas last week.
More aggressive this season, understanding that when she's aggressive, it helps the team.
I wondered if Oklahoma might use a timeout after those back-to-back possessions. With 3 of them left, they do not. Here's Beers. 8 to shoot.
Look at the matchup. Joyce Edwards on Beers. Has to use her quickness.
Beers has it knocked away. Williams can't finish. Okot the rebound. South Carolina can tie or go in front. 4 straight points for the Gamecocks. The veteran Raven Johnson, the poise settling them.
And making sure everyone's in the right position before she runs the play.
Johnson for the tie, and that's going to be an offensive foul on Okot. Her third. Van comes back into the game for Oklahoma with just a cramper on the calf. Got the pickle juice, got the Theragun, who's back in. And there's the foul from Okot. That turns it over for South Carolina.
I don't know. I think she's just rolling to the basket.
I agree.
I don't think that's a foul.
I think rolls are being mistook for moving screens in this game at times. Here's Verhulst. Knocked away by Johnson. Raven Johnson off the steal, lays it in, and this game is tied at 73. Still no timeout taken from Oklahoma. I'm just a little surprised because their possessions have been so disjointed for an extended stretch now. Williams forces it in, and yet another turnover. Here comes Edwards. Edwards denied but fouled, and Joyce Edwards will go to the line with a chance to put South Carolina in front.
And you're so right, Ryan. I mean, we've seen 3 back-to-back-to-back transition layups for South Carolina and no timeout from Oklahoma. And here's just the quick hands from Raven Johnson on Peyton Verhulst, and then the ability to finish. Oklahoma defenders sprinting to try and make that layup difficult. Raven Johnson and Tanaya Latson have made defensive plays, but South Carolina, their defensive energy has stepped up in these last couple minutes.
And Edwards hits the free throw to put South Carolina back in front. Yeah, that's why I'm surprised, Dre. The offensive possessions have been slowed, initially maybe strategically for clock, but they've been totally disjointed, and Oklahoma has not conversed about it. Now they finally will as South. There you go, 8-0 run from South Carolina. They've jumped in front by 2. 40 seconds to go, 12-second difference game and shot clock. Van taking it to the opposite side of the floor, guarded by Tessa Johnson. Verhulst trying to get free. Williams in the corner, looking into Beers, wasn't there. 13 to shoot. Van back to Williams, 10 to shoot. Williams can't lay it in. Beers the old rebound, ties it on the putback. 75-all. Timeout, South Carolina. 15 seconds to go. Crowd on its feet, tied at 75. South Carolina out of timeouts. Johnson gets it in, and now she will run clock. 10 seconds left. Johnson.
Ball screen.
Here it comes. Johnson with 3. Gives it up. Edwards lost it. Oklahoma trying to grab it, and we have overtime.
And South Carolina dictating defensively is ultimately the reason they got back into the game.
South Carolina 16 of 21 from the line. Oklahoma just 6 of 8. That's the one thing in the stat sheet that sways heavily towards the Gamecocks. Van off the tip. Lost it. Girls gets it back. Here we go in overtime. Chavez and a crowd threw it away, trying to do a little too much there. Edwards in transition, can't finish. Beers comes down with it. Here's Van. Verhulst to the corner. Chavez a 3. You bet. 14 for Chavez, who has played so well after getting a little time on the bench in the first. Okot has not been able to finish on the interior tonight. There's 6 points thus far. He's been averaging a double-double. Beers off to Williams. Sahara Williams, 12 points, 10 rebounds, 5 assists. That's a great defense. Verholst lobs it. Beers gives it back. Verholst, sure.
Oklahoma spacing and cutting, Ryan. The spacing on the Chavez three, and then the spacing and cutting there for Verholst.
5-point Oklahoma lead. Verholst has 17. Raven Johnson again with a big bucket.
That's the middle ball screen I was talking. That final play for South Carolina, that middle ball screen, we've seen it work for Raven Johnson, and she's been able to knock it down.
Chavez accelerates and lays. 16 points, 7 assists for Aaliyah Chavez. Okot, Edwards, short, rebound Van. Oklahoma with the ball, leading by 5, 3 minutes to go in overtime.
And you see that shot by Edwards, that's not her game. Her game is so much to the rim and at the rim.
Williams, back to Chavez. 7 to shoot. Chavez connects! Aaliyah Chavez introducing herself to the national stage here on Thursday primetime. She has 8 in OT. Okot can't finish. Largest lead of the night for Oklahoma, it is 8. Chavez trying to lob it in. Fortuitous hop for Oklahoma as it last hit South Carolina. What a show Aaliyah Chavez is putting on.
Outstanding by Aaliyah Chavez. Yes, the made buckets are so impressive, but the decision making is even more impressive. Just a freshman against South Carolina. She's got the momentum. She's now playing with confidence and better control.
Verholst dips it in. It's a 10-point Oklahoma lead. First double-digit lead from either team tonight, and it happens in overtime. Oklahoma's 5 of 5.
And they've executed to perfection.
Tessa Johnson able to scoop it in on the attack. Still plenty of time for South Carolina. Jay Bronchek telling Chavez, run some clock.